This is Lewis Hart for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store. Delighted today to be joined with Joe Cordina here on a nice Wednesday afternoon. Yeah, how's things, Joe? How's things, mate? How have you been?
Yeah, I've been good, man. I've been good. Um, just been relaxing, training, enjoyed a couple of holidays, but back to the graph now, mate.
Absolutely, for sure. And I guess it's been a couple months now since the Cacace fight. Yeah, I guess for yourself, sort of how's life been? I guess since then, as you say, you've been on a couple holidays and things like that. So how I guess how's things been since then?
Uh, no, to be honest, no different. Genuinely, no different. Don't get me wrong. It was mentally it was tough for me the first couple of weeks, but then after that, I was fine. Like it's crazy because I was getting more love and support through a loss than I when I was winning. I'd having more people reaching out to me when I've lost. So yeah, it was confusing me. And yeah, yeah, I couldn't get my head around it. But yeah, I was good anyway. I'm very good now.
With you saying that there about more people sort of showing you love, I guess coming back for loss, is that would you say it's a good thing? Like how do you process that?
It is. There was two ways I was looking at it. There was two ways. I'll be genuine. It's either people were not happy to see me win and thought, "Fuck that, I'm not messing," with or was happy to see me lose, but wanted to show me that I'm making sure you're okay. But then
Yeah.
there's genuine people that would just make sure I was okay. They message me when I win, but and when I've lost. So I can't. Yeah, but it was just probably my mind playing doing overtime and thinking all different scenarios of why is he messaging me out of the blue? Da, 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 da. Why is he doing this? Why has he said this? And I'm trying to work out in my head, but I was just probably overthinking things. But yeah, I had a lot of love weeks after.
Yeah, definitely. It's an interesting thing to say. Yeah, before sort of looking back on that fight, when when you do suffer a defeat in it being a stoppage defeat, everyone treats it differently and everyone sort of reacts to it differently. For yourself, how tough were those, I guess, month or 6 weeks after that to sort of get over it, I guess?
Um, it was difficult because do you know why it was how it happened? Do you know if someone's genuinely better than me? Not saying that he's not better than me because he won the fight, but it was the way it happened. If he didn't catch me with them two illegal shots, I
Yeah,
believe that would the fight quite comfortably.
yeah,
But if someone's better than me, I'll hold my hands up and say you're better than me. There's nothing I could have done about it. In every aspect, you were better than me.
yeah.
Then you've got to take it on the chin. But the way it happened, it didn't sit well with me. But I took it in two ways. Now I struggled for the weight bad, really
Mhm.
bad. So I have been for the last probably 6 to 12 months. But if it didn't happen now, it would have happened probably in my next fight. So and unless I moved up,
Yeah,
but I think I wanted to move up after I beat Rakimov, and I was just advised the difference in you fighting for a world title with a world title and without one, it could be a few hundred grand. So it's just you. It was a sense of yeah, a sense of keep going until the wheels fell off, and unfortunately they fell off. So
definitely. Yeah.
yeah, but I listen. I can't say that fight was down to the weight. I just believe them two illegal shots. That's what done me. But listen, hats off to him. He won the fight, and I gotta take that on the chin because that was the that was what happened.
Mhm.
But there's no point crying over spilled milk. It's done. It's behind me, and I'm moving forward. I'm moving up a weight, and my aim is to win another world title at lightweight.
Definitely there. And I guess it's only right to get into it now. When you look back on that Kakashi fight, you mentioned there about the punches on the break, which I'm right in saying was it the third round? I'm pretty sure it
Third round.
was. So it was the third round. Um, yeah, so and almost sort of the fight was, as I say, it was up until then it was pretty even fight, and I think it's no disrespect, but obviously after that there was visible damage for yourself. So from being that experience, if you take any recollection, how badly hurt were you after the punch on the break?
Yeah, I was hurt. Like, don't get me
Hmm.
wrong, my legs. I it wasn't like I was hurt and I was going all over the shop. Like,
Yeah.
fucking, who can I say? Like in the past when you've
Subdued or
seen
something. Yeah.
like and get hit and he does that like with his feet, he's all over the shop. But I wasn't hurt like that. I was
Mhm.
hurt in the sense of it hurt me and I did feel it. It like zapped me down to my thing and my head was buzzed. So I was thinking, right, so I've never been hurt like this before. But they were two clean shots. Now I believe if the shoe was on the other foot, I would have got him out of either that round or the next round. And I was surprised that he didn't knock me out and he didn't stop me that round or the next round. Because I believe I would have stopped him the round or the next round if it was, like I said, she was on the other foot. But like I said, I can't cry over spilled milk. It's done. So
Yeah.
people like I haven't done many interviews. I think this is my fourth
Yeah.
interview. It's because of people are reaching out. I'm not one of them to constantly do interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd never made a fuss about it over socials or anything like that. It's people ask me and I just tell it how it is.
Mhm.
But yeah, it is what it is, bro. Like I said, it's done and we got to move forward.
Definitely, yeah. And yeah, just before sort of just moving on, you
Yeah,
mentioned there about you feeling like sort of that wasn't like you feel like you know you can beat him.
yeah.
When you talk about getting over the loss, does that make it more annoying because you know you feel like even yourself, you know you're a better fighter, and on the big stage you weren't like able to show that obviously with all the factors that came into it.
Yeah, but if you dwell on it and think about it too much, you're gonna do your own head in and it's gonna get in the way of your training and everything else. So you have to just put it behind you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned there about moving up to lightweight. At super feather, as you said, it was no secret that it was obviously a tough weight for you to make. Did you feel like deep down when you look back on you said after the Rakimonov fight, there's obviously the Vasquez fight after that, and obviously
Yeah.
the Cacace fight. Did you feel like partially there was bit yourself when you were stepping into the ring where you didn't really feel 100% because the weight was taking so much out of you?
In the Rakimov fight or the Ogawa fight, obviously one much
Yeah.
to see in the Ogawa fight, but the Rakimov fight especially, and fights before that, the Gavin Gwynn fight, the Tanoko fight, the Hernandez fight, all them fights, you would see how I boxed and how easy I made it look. So to fight, say for instance, Vasquez, for instance,
Yeah.
he thought he was a lot better than he is. He's not. He wasn't good. Regardless of whether it was a close fight or not, I believe I won about like four rounds. It's quite comfortable. But he is nowhere near Rakimov or Ogawa's level. And yeah, for him to like kick up a fuss like that,
Yeah.
when it wasn't really a close fight. He just all he did was run away for most of it and had a couple of bursts here and there. But it was still quite comfortable for me, and I was weak as a kitten. So if
Yeah.
anyone was going to beat me, it would have been that night, or when I boxed Cacace. Now
Yeah.
I can't say it was that the weight that night had an effect on me because the first two rounds was quite comfortable, but it when he did catch me with them two clean shots on the break, they affected me, and that was the deciding factor. So yeah, it's the weight is bad, and the last two fights have been terrible. I probably should have moved up after Rakimov, but like I
Yeah.
said, I was advised not to.
Of it is also like you've taken off some mental stress as well because you've got a fight to prep for, but you've also almost sometimes you've got the mental prep of like hoping that you make weight. You know, I can't speak for you. I never know if it was like
Yeah,
really really tight at 130, but do you feel like you have like less mental stress? Like,
yeah. Well, we'll put it this way: I boxed as an amateur at 60 kilo, and then boxed as a pro at 61 kilo,
yeah,
and so that's from I'd say 2012 till 2019. I was at 61 kilo.
yeah,
The max 61 kilo. No, the lowest was 61 kilo, and that was a struggle to make. So for me to get the 58.9, clearly,
yeah,
as an older, your metabolism slows down. It
yeah,
gets tougher to make weight and whatever. So yeah, of course it's going to have an effect. Do you understand? So, but yeah, like I said, it was comfortable for the first couple of rounds, and yeah, there's not much more I can say on it really.
Yeah, of course.
It's the two shots that had an effect, but it definitely was the weight. Do you get me? They knew that themselves, but I just didn't want to. I was trying to hide that as much as I could, but they already knew anyway. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm not putting that down as a like the blame, but they're definitely the two shots on the break dummy.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess now moving up to lightweight, it's only fight to focus on the future. And with the move to lightweight, for someone like yourself, Joe, you've always, especially when you was at Super Feather, you always banged on about wanting the fights. You know, O'Shaquie Foster, different sort of names like that were guys you called out. And sort of when you look at sort of big names at Super Feather, it always wears thin. That can't be said for lightweight. There's loads of big names at lightweight, so it must be exciting that you've got the world champ. You had the world champion tag to your name, but world big world fights and big fights for yourself, they aren't going to be too, you ain't going to look too far for them, which is an exciting thing, I can imagine.
Nah, they're not going to be, whether you have to work your way into one or one falls on your lap, because it does happen. There's a lot of good promoters in boxing now, especially with the likes of Your Excellency Turkey. He's obviously he's making fights, the fights that everyone wants to see, and you've got a lot of good people in boxing that are behind the scenes also, and they're making fights. So if there's a fight that someone wants to see, then it gets made. Now, like the likes of me and Shakur had the back and forth at Super Feather, but then obviously moved up a weight. So that's a fight, but I might have to work my way into that because he's got a world title and I'm just moving up. Yeah. But listen, I've seen outrageous things, and not outrageous in bad, as in good things, because you'd never think it would happen. But yeah, I've seen fights that have happened that you would never ever think of. So yeah, it is. Yeah, it is what it is, man. It's great to be in boxing now, because like I said, there's big shows happening every couple of months now, and everyone wants to be a part of it. You've got to be, to get on them, you've got to be involved in a good fight, in a great fight. So yeah, you can never rule out a world title shot straight off the bat, but if I have to work my way up and get myself into one, then so be it. But I always want to fight the best. I've always wanted to test myself. I always want to be involved in exciting fights. I don't want to be one of them geezers that people, oh, he was a 2-world champion, but he's boring. No, every fight of mine, when I've been in world title fights, has been exciting. So
definitely,
yeah, and I want to continue to do that. So yeah, I just want to be involved in the best fights, biggest fights possible.
Yeah, well, I guess that sort of answers my next question. Like, you've already touched world honours twice, you could say. So the desire must run deep to become a world champion at two different weights, especially again.
Yeah, obviously, I trained with Ricky Burns, and he was a 3-weight world champion. Yeah. Now, just to think what he's achieved, 3-weight world champion, that's massive. Some of the fights he's had along the way to get to them world titles, it's crazy. Now, if I can just be a 2-weight world champion, it's mad. The respect that I got for that man is unreal. Because he taught me a lot, and most of the things through boxing, how to live my life and everything else, I learned from Ricky Burns. So yeah, it is. Yeah, I'd love to become a 2-weight world champion, 2-weight 3 times. Yeah, love that.
Got a good ring to it, mate. But yeah, just before I do let you go, one thing I did sort of away from professional boxing, actually, wanted to get your thoughts on. I'm sure you had great memories of 2016 and you know, especially Olympics and the whole setup there was great memories for yourself. We just recently concluded the 2024 Olympics, and 2028 is still unclear. Obviously, there's a clear rift with the IOC and the IBA. From what you can take from your experience of just being on GB, that whole Olympic setup, how sort of worrying would you say it is that we aren't potentially going to see boxing at the next Olympics?
Yeah, it's fucking piss take, really, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
since I can remember boxing being in the Olympics, all the great fighters
yeah,
from over the different eras, um, and over generations, they've a lot of them, 90% of them have came from the background of an Olympic team and or a national team and stuff like that. And no one's going to want to be involved in a national team if the end goal ain't an Olympic Games, because really and truly, to all the big promoters want to see watch the Olympics because they want the next big thing that coming out of the Olympics, and then they're all getting in bidding wars. Who can we get this one and can we get that one? And it's quite upsetting, really, because people like youngsters that want to go to an Olympics and they box and they can't do it. My only
yeah,
thing, I didn't want to turn pro at first. I just wanted to go to Olympic Games.
yeah,
So I done that, and then the next thing for me was to turn pro. I set goals and I reached that. Then I wanted to turn pro, but I tell you who's gonna feel it the most is the Americans, because
yeah.
the Americans rely on the Olympic Games. A lot of them don't, because they start off young, like is it the Cromel?
Kamel
Um,
Moten, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
Kamel Moten,
and
yeah.
like he's like a prodigy that's come through, and
Hmm.
he's gonna be shit up in years to come. Do you get me? But
Yeah,
not saying he's not now, but he's like an acceptance. He's different, and the likes of Javante Davis, different.
yeah.
Adrian Broner, different. Don't get me wrong, they were on national teams,
Mm.
but the likes of Shakur, who wanted to go to the Olympics, he got it, and then he got what he wanted, and then all the other fighters go to the Olympics, they get what they want, and I think that's the main thing for Americans is going to Olympics, getting a medal, then they can ask for what they want, and more times than not, they get what they want.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just before we do close this off, yeah, I guess for ideally, when is there any timeline where when we could see yourself back in the ring?
I'm ready to jump in the camp now, so
Yeah,
um, give me 8 weeks. I'm happy.
yeah, perfect. As always, Joe, really appreciate taking time to speak to me. I know you said you haven't done many interviews, so I do appreciate you jumping on, mate. And yeah, all the best. Hopefully, get some fight news soon, mate. Appreciate it.
With